Today I will upload that notes also related to that. So technically lost the connection yesterday suddenly, right? And today we will see one example on working with polymorphism. I given an overview actually. So we discussed about what is actual polymorphism. So we will see the example today, how to deal with that, right? So polymorphism. So the basic polymorphism, how it works, right? So technically polymorphism is, as I already told you, means how you can achieve. So poly is many and morphos is forms. So technically polymorphism, uh, it is a behavior. It is a behavior given for components so that one component one component one component can have multiple behaviors behaviors. You can simply say that one component can transform with multiple behaviors according to state and situation. And in object oriented programming, polymorphism 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 allows a single base class object to use the memory of multiple derived classes. A single base class object to use the memory of multiple derived classes. So in object oriented programming, polymorphism allows to handle this. That's what actually polymorphism. That means a single base class object is used with different memories. How this is possible? Let's see one example for that. Means how it can happen. The basic approach for that, right? Let's see. So here we are using a simple example, right? Let's create a simple class here. I am defining a class as employee. Okay. This employee have first name and last name and print method. This print method, so it will print the first name and last name. That means it is configured with details. That means here first name, last name, and we have designation. Okay. It is printing the details like name is equal to. So we have to call this dot first name and space. So this dot last name. And in the next line, I need to print the details like in the next line, designation. And I want to print the designation, some details. So I will put here designation comes from $this dot designation. Okay. And after that, I will print a HR. HR will print a horizontal line. Okay. So that is the basic output we have. This is employee class. Employee class is defined with first name, last name, designation, and these details. We are creating class called developer. Developer extends employee. That means developer is employee type. Then developer is having the print method. In this print method, we need to first define this super dot first name is equal to, so what is the first name? Some Raj. And super dot last name is equal to some Kumar. Okay. And here we have to call super dot print. We are calling the print method. So we are reusing the details here. That means this is developer. Developer is of type employee. Similarly, I have another employee, admin, extends, and this also employee. We will implement designation also. Super dot designation is equal to his developer. Okay. Now similarly, admin also employee, and admin also will use a print method. It will print all these details same, and I will give a different name for this, a different name, and he is admin. Designation is admin. All are employee type only. So, and another class, this is manager. Manager is also extends employee, extending employee, and the same print details we are having, print. And here first name is some Tom, some like Hanks, like this, and this is manager. That means three different employees types are there, but all are derived from the same base class. Now, so I want to create an object. So that I'm creating an object here, let. I'm creating an object. So employees. For this employees object, I'm allocating memory. Generally, we are allocating memory for employee. That means it will work only for employee. So I'm creating for developer. It will work only for developer. I'm working for manager, then only for manager. That means this object will work only for anyone. But I want this object to have behavior of manager, admin, and developer, everyone. It should work in all ways. Then what we have to do is, now we are creating an array. Into this array, so array contains sequential order of memory. In that memory, first memory I am allocating here developer type memory, and in the second index here I am allocating admin type memory, and third index I am applying here as manager type memory. That means one object now can handle three different memories. That means now this object at one index can behave as developer. At two index, it can behave as admin. One index, it can behave zero index. This is developer. At one index, admin. At two index, manager. Of course, you can write in several ways. How you can write? You can also write like this. So employees of 0 is equal to new developer. Like this also you can write. That means here one object is allocated with three types of memory. That means this object can work in three ways. It can work for developer, it can work for admin, it can work for manager. That means now this employees object is exhibiting polymorphism. That means you designed in such a way that it can work for three different people. So that means now this is exhibiting polymorphism. So how the polymorphism implement? That means how to access them now, because you know how to access array. So I'm using for each. Directly I'm using for where employee of collection. Collection is employees. That means now every employee memory can be accessed through this employee. That means employee can access admin, can access developer, can access manager. And I am using employee dot print. I'm accessing the print method. That means for every employee we have a print method. So that means this print method is called for every employee. If it is called for every employee, then obviously when it prints here, it should print all the details of employees. All the details of employees we need to call outside this class. I'm creating everything inside the class here. That means in the employee class I'm creating. So all these need to be kept outside the class here, configured outside the class here. That means this is outside the class. That means this is outside the class. That means this is the class manager. Yeah. Here outside this, I need to configure this. So, and that means let employee to access all these details and use the details. Here we are printing the details, but the details we are printing here, so are printing in console log. We will print in document.write, so that you can see them. Okay, I will refresh this now, and you can see all the details are printed. That means name, he is developer, so another admin and another manager. That means we created one object, and this one object have three behaviors now. How you can give different behaviors for one object? That you can do by allocating different types of memories for it. If you can allocate different types of memories, then it can handle different types of functionalities. This is what generally polymorphism is. That means technically a single base class object can use a single base class object can use the memory of multiple derived classes. A single base class object can use the memory of multiple derived classes. One base class object can use the memory of multiple derived classes. That means single base class object can work for different types of derived classes, This is what actually we call polymorphism. That means actually the memory is loaded with three different types, and in different situations it is using three different types. That's what actually polymorphism is. So means how we can define polymorphism. So technically polymorphism is a single base class object using the memory of multiple derived classes, right? So example, this is an example how it handles polymorphism. I will give you one task you try. Your task is you try one task. Create a method. Create a method so that can perform three different functionalities. Different functionalities like add, subtract, multiply, and divide. Add, subtract, multiply like this. That means you have to create only one method which can handle three different functionalities. So you have to use polymorphism technique. That means, so I have to call method, and into that A and B, and here operation add. Then when I pass add, this method should do addition on these two numbers. If I pass method A comma B and subtract sub, if I add that word subtract, it will perform subtraction on those two numbers. So same method should be there. So same parameters, but AB value will be changing and this operator value will be changing. If I say multiply, it should return multiplication. By using polymorphism technique, you have to try this. This is your task. You try to do this. That means there should be only one method, and that method should be able to handle these three tasks. With polymorphism, that means you need to create a class, one for addition, subtraction, and multiplication. It should use some base class. It should accept AB values, and addition, subtraction, multiplication, it should handle separately. By using polymorphism, you have to implement that, right? That is what actually you need to understand about polymorphism, generally how polymorphism works. So in the object-oriented concepts, if you can try this, then it's good. You got an simple idea on this polymorphism, right? Let's see how the other feature works now. Generally, so you learn two important points. So one is how it handles the inheritance and polymorphism like concepts, right? Usually, I already told you that there are certain limitations, restrictions. It cannot handle all in the same way. So that means just like general object-oriented programming, all are not supported here. Only few important concepts are supported here. That's the reason generally everything is not perfectly available as OOPS. So we need to just understand only few important things that are supported here, right? So this is what actually polymorphism is. And overloading, function overloading, method overloading, like that, it is not directly supported. We have to implement through this polymorphism technique only. So that is another important thing you should know. One more point is abstraction like concepts are not directly supported here again. Why? Because it doesn't support any interfaces. Then implementation, interfaces, template designing is all not there in JavaScript. So you cannot satisfy every concept of OOP here. So limited, restricted OOP related features are available. Right. These are the basic things you need to know, how to create classes, objects, functions, and all. Now, what new things you need to know in a JavaScript advanced versions is generally we need to understand about lambda functions. Lambda functions. We need to know about map, and we need to know about set. These are the new type of collections available. So lambda functions, map, sets are the new things into this JavaScript. Lambda functions technically, it is lambda functions are nothing but it will reduce the logic. Means it is the short way of, in a shorthand way of defining the functions. That means it provides a shorthand method for writing functions. Shorthand for writing functions. Technically, how the lambda functions are defined, how the lambda functions are used. Let's see generally how they are defined and used. Generally, lambda functions, so the basic approach will be like this. Suppose we have a function, means configure a function. Lambda is defined, suppose like this, var, and we have a function is equal to lambda functions are designated by using a parenthesis and an implies and a flower brace like this, without flower brace also. Actually, technically, this is a function. So function parameters, and the function definition. So the function parameter and function definition. That means F1, this function is not having a name. It is having a reference name here. So you can define without parenthesis also. That means if I represent like this, that means this symbol indicates parameters. So that means a function parameters, and this indicates the function definition, the function definition, and this indicates, so the definition, that means statements. What are the statements need to be configured inside the function. Without that also, if there are multiple statements, you can configure this. For example, I am writing here, simply writing here, this is a function denotation. I am writing here, so welcome to lambda. That's just a message. That means I call F1. F1 is a function now. So that means this is a function with this definition. Actually, how it is represented, I will put a comment here. Means how it is represented. This is a comment here. It is written like this now. We have a function, and the function is having welcome. So that means it is having welcome. I want to print this welcome. Then I say document.write, where to print it. document dot write, it has to print this. That means now it is having document dot write, document dot write, and welcome to lambda, like this. Welcome to lambda. That's how it is defined, and it is assigned to. It is assigned to var f1. It is assigned to f1. This entire we can write in a simple way. In one line you can configure. In one line you can configure. And I am calling that. That means it has to get that and display. That is a simple technique of defining the lambda actually. So that means the shortest way of writing the functions. Now generally, so when you are writing the function, suppose here I am configuring. This is one example. Generally, how do we write the lambda? That is one example. So we can configure like this. Suppose I am writing here. So a comma b, and here I am defining the functionality return a plus b. A plus b. I am defining return a plus b. That means it is returning a plus b. Returning a plus b. Actually, this return is a keyword which is returning a plus b. That means if you are defining multiple expressions now here, that means this return is a keyword and an expression separated here. If there are multiple expressions or multiple keywords or statements, then obviously, suppose if I say a plus b, that means if it is a plus b, that means this function is a plus b. Okay, that means whenever we call the function, so here a is equal to 1020, I am printing it document dot write. So f1 a plus b. I want to print the result of that. If I write like this 1020 and I refresh here, it says 30. You don't even need to write the return because this indicates what it should return. This indicates what it return. That means this indicates definition and return value. So return value, definition and return value. That means the definition and return value is defined in this way. This is more simple way of writing. Actually, this is written in this way. How it is written? Generally, we have the option like function and a comma b, and it should use return a plus b. Instead of writing all this, we are just wrapping in this simple. So that means it can return a number or a string or any type of expression you can configure here. The short way of configuring. Now, generally, this is used for minification. Already I told you about minification. So this is generally used for minification. How do we configure the minifications? Right. So how the minification works? This is the basic of minification. Right. So technically, now we can use complex statements also. That means this is another example how we can define return value. So this is how we define the return value. You can have multiple statements configured. So multiple statements, how they are configured, just what we have to do here is we need to define the function and the parenthesis here. I'm adding the lines here, means multiple statements. How we can configure the multiple statements. Suppose I say document dot write. So statement 1. And I put a semicolon. So document dot write. So that is statement 2, like this. I'm adding statement 1, I'm adding statement 2. Like this, we are defining multiple statements. That means it should handle this. And this function is called like this. That means we are just calling the function. So F1 is the function call. We are calling the function. So that means this function has to get the details and display. If there are multiple statements, then you need to use this parenthesis. So multiple statements, then we can use that parenthesis. So this is shortest way of configuring the functions. We generally call these as lambda, called as lambda. You remembered I told you about array filter like concepts. In any filters also, whenever you are writing function, you can write in a lambda way. Lambda way. That means, for example, so I have some products. So that means here I am defining the products. So where products is equal to, it's an array. So name is TV and the category is electronics. Now here name is some shirt and the category is fashion. And here we have name as some mobile and the category as electronics. Now I want to print all electronic products. I want to print all electronic products. That means I will create electronics and I want to get and store all electronics here. How we can manage that? Generally, we learned about filter. That means products dot filter. You remember the filter function. Now filter is expecting a callback function. It is expecting a callback function. Earlier, how we used the filter callback function is products dot filter, and it is expecting a callback function. And in this function, actually, it is expecting a parameter, some value, means category. And here it should return. So category, it should return category matching with electronics. I think you have learned about that category related to electronics. We discussed about that, right? So we saw how it returns the category. That means the category. So that is electronics. This is how we can write the function. Now this inner function, that is the inner function. That means the function is written in this way. Now tell me through lambda how you can write this. Write and send me, I will see. Through lambda how you can write this. Through lambda how I can write this. That part, inside part. That means I'm asking you that this part, how to write in a lambda way. This part, how to write in a lambda way. Write and show me. Send me that, I will see. How we can write that. It should return where category is electronics. And already I told you, if Only one we are using, no need of return keyword. Am I right? Return keyword. Yes. So what is the shortest way for writing this? We don't need a function f1, var function f1. Why? Because already the result is sent into this filter function, in the filter function. That means we can write this like this. We can write like this. So in that function means parenthesis. In the parenthesis, category is the parameter. That implies, it implies category dot electronics. Am I right? Category implies category dot, so actually category is equal to electronics, right? Is equal to electronics. Category dot here. Remember, this is an object. Many people are sending like this. That means you haven't saw the data. Observe the data, then you will understand better. This looks fine. This looks fine, but actually our data is not like this. Actually, our data is, observe carefully. Our data is having product object. That means this array is returning an object. If array is returning an object, in that object there is a category property. So actually majority of people what you sent is okay, good, that is right. But actually according to our data, our function should be in a different way. Like how we do is, actually function is like this. Function, we need to pass a product into it because it is products now. We need to pass a product into it, and what we have to do is we have to return product dot category is equal to electronics. Understood? Understood everyone? That means product is an array object. Array object contains name and property, name and category, right? Name and category. You have to compare with category, not with name. Am I right? This product is the object of this particular collection, and every object has two details, name and category. We want to filter based on the category, and we need to get that. Now how you will write lambda for this function? Tell me, how will write the lambda for this function? It is product, am I right, implies product dot category is equal to electronics. Am I right? This is how we have to write the lambda for it. Understood? Okay, na? That is how we have to write the correct product. That is how we have to define the collection. That means functions, lambda way. That means here we need to write like this. So product. So here we have to define the product. And one more point is, generally function parameters, when you are defining function parameters, actually function parameters doesn't require, because the first place is related to parameters only. If there are multiple parameters, then you should use parentheses. If there is only one parameter, you don't need parentheses also. You can write more simple way like this. Understood? That means if there are many parameters, you have to use parentheses. If there is only one parameter, then you can write in a simple way. Product implies product dot category is equal to electronics. That is how we can write in a simple way. That means you don't need to put this in parentheses because it is only one parameter. If there are multiple parameters, then you have to put parentheses. And this product object category is matching with electronics. It will get all those details and it will store in electronics. Now electronics is an array which contains only electronic objects. And I want to print only those electronic object names. Then for var item of electronics. And I need to print document.write. I need to print just item. I need to print item dot name. That means only the product name must be printed with a line break. And when I refresh, it should get only those details and show. It should get only those details and display, because filter is filtering these products and it is storing in an array. Now we are looping into that array and we are reading the names. Now I will change the filter. If category is fashion, then it should get only fashion details and show. If category is electronics, then we can get only electronics and display. We can filter only those and we can access and display only those details. That's what we can manage. Actually, now you can pass these details dynamically. And present. I will give you one task on JavaScript and HTML. You have to design the task and show me based on this approach, right? This is an example. Okay. Now I will give you one task. You have to do that. This is an example. What is the task for you is I will be in the lab sessions for a few days, right? Because we are conducting lab session 1 o'clock. I will be in the lab session for a few days along with our mentor also. And we will be helping you in solving these tasks, issues, right? And important part, you need to know that. It's very important. You need to know that generally, this task you need to design through implementation. What you have to try is the exercise for you is you have to design a page like this. In this page, first design I am showing you. This is the design of the page. In this page, keep 2 columns here. And in this column, user can select a category. Select category. For selecting a category, you have to put a drop down. So you have to design a drop down. So this is drop down. Now when I click this drop down, I want some products in it. When I click the drop down, I want some products in it. Some categories inside it. So the categories must be added into it, like electronics, like fashion, like footwear, like this. I need this in the drop down. And remember, the data for this should come from an array. That means you have to create categories as an array. In that we have electronics. In that we have fashion, so footwear, like this. In that we have fashion, like this. Now I don't want directly to put the details here. I want the details from an array. That means from this array, the details will go here. Understood? From that array, the details should go. So when body loads, that means on page load. So on body load. On body load, these details must be loaded into this. On body load, those details must be loaded into the drop down. Right? That is important. Now, right side here, I want here the display of cards. I want here display of cards. So that means here the cards, the product name. Yeah, here I want display the product name. So product name and its a photo, product related photo, and its price. And its price. So that is the photo. So I need the photo. So product name and photo. And important is here, these details will come from another array. These details will come from another array. That means what we have to do is we need to maintain an array. These details should come from an array. So this is coming from an array. This array contains object. One is name. So another one is price. Okay. Another one is photo. Photo means path we have to write. So images /tv like this .jpg. And one more is category. One more is category. Category as electronics like this. So this comes under electronics. Electronics. Like this, you add all the products. Now, what is my task for you is like this, put some products. When user selects some fashion, it has to search in this array. Bring those fashion related products and show them here. Understood? You need to bring them and display here. That means right side card should be only for the products. Only for the products. The right side cards should be only for the products. So that belongs to the selected category. Which category you selected? Only that category related products should come. Products should come. You have to design this. Understood the task? I will upload this task into our classroom here. So this is the task for you. That means, so this is the task you need to do. That means load categories into drop down. When user selects category, get the category name and search for category in products and filter those products and display those products inside right panel. And when user is changing the category, they have to change and display those related products here. Dynamically, we have to manage that. If you can do that, I will show you while typing how it can search and show. That means not only the drop down, you can put a text box and ask the user to type when he is typing, and if anyone is matching, that product information will come and display. First, you have to design this and implement this. Can you do this by tomorrow? Everyone, can you achieve this by tomorrow? It's not so easy. It's not so easy because dynamically presenting a card is what the risk you will find. Rest of things are easy. Already we learned how to add into drop down and so by tomorrow you should do, right? It is a small task. So it is not 2-3 days task. Just in if you are unable to do, then tomorrow in the class I will show you how to do this. Okay, how to do this, and I will give some more examples to you. If I am showing in the class, means in 15-20 minutes we can finish this. 5-10 minutes itself we can finish this. Designing only take time. 5-10 minutes we can do this. Not one day time required for this. This is only 5-10 minutes task, right? So but you try maximum how you can manage this. If you can do this, I will give you some more tasks now, and you can attend our lab session, and you can handle that there, right? So you can practice in the lab session. If you are getting any doubts in the lab session, we can clarify them. You can start practicing in the lab session. Okay, right? Then tomorrow we will continue, and tomorrow some more 2-3 topics are there. We will finish tomorrow. Then we will go into jQuery concept. Okay, right? Tomorrow try to do this. Right? Tomorrow we'll meet them. Yes, Yusuf, what is your doubt?
Hello, sir.
Yes, Yusuf.
Yes,
Tell
sir. Good morning, sir.
morning.
सर कल आपने सर 2 तारीख के सर नोट अपलोड नहीं किए सर.
हाँ करेंगे, आज करेंगे, बताया था ना क्लास के बिगिनिंग में.
ओके सर. थैंक यू सर.